the bee box continuing. This is so semi-related to the bee box, but also to the meadow. This is a load of grit sand and topsoil coming. So with the garden, it's obviously was all hardcore, and it's quite tragic what happened. There basically is 2 foot of hardcore over the entire garden. All of that then covered with weed suppressant, and then either covered with gravel or with plastic grass. So what I'm doing here, well, it's the bee box, but I'm actually thinking the bee pen now, because I was looking at it. It's a bit like a big sheep pen, and I thought, so I think we're going to call it the bee pen. So all it's a case of doing is just laying grit sand, and the reason for grit sand is just it'll work better for growing the meadow. So what I've done with this, using the plastic trays, I've laid them around the outside for a walkway, and I've also laid them one side. So the one side I'm doing it is where the beehives are going to go. So this is where I'll be walking, so there'll be foot traffic on here, not too much, but by laying this, it'll mean it doesn't get muddy depending on the weather. If there are any plants growing there, they'll be shorter, but wherever they'll be more protected from foot traffic. So all I've done, I think it was about a bag, maybe 2 bags of grit sand on this, which it soon disappears. You think you've got loads and then it soon goes. So all I've done is cover this area with grit sand, spread it out, and I'm going to grow. It's going to be slightly different to the rest of the meadow because it's a dwarf meadow, so they shouldn't be as tall, because I don't want it getting massive and then blocking where the bees come and go. I want a nice clear runway for them. So all I've done, cover it in here. I can walk around the outside if I want to, be it for tending plants, whatever it might be. And we're nearly ready for growing. Long term, say for example, I don't know, we didn't want bees anymore. I don't know why that would happen, but let's say we don't have bees. Even though it's quite a big area, this, I could still use it for, like, I don't know, let's say a barbecue. Long-term goal is that the whole sides will be covered by plants, clematis, maybe some espalier fruit trees, something like that. But that takes time, you know, good few years. So until then, I've got this green netting, which I don't, it does the job, in fairness. It does the job nicely. And what this will do, that'll mean that it funnels the bees up. So rather than, they'll get to that and then they'll go up and out. So that's basically making the bee pen. I've done it all the way around, just so that'll manipulate where the bees fly. So slabs, I've got these spare slabs. I bought them from where we used to live. I've been carrying them around for a long time. They're very heavy, but they're perfect for this. I've put 6 down, 3 rectangles, 3 squares, just because that's what I had. And it's just for the beehive to go on. They'll just sit on there. You don't want to put them straight on the soil because the wood will rot, something like that. But it just means it's a really nice area to keep clean. This isn't actually a beehive yet, it's just a show. But very soon we can bring the bees back, which I'm really looking forward to now. I think we're ready. Planting around the outside. Still have to use an SDS drill for some digging because they're still hardcore in various places. But we are winning. We are definitely getting there. Welcome to the bee pen. Here it is. Coming in. So it is bigger than I was planning. I don't know what I was planning, but it's definitely bigger. But you know, it's still good. So you can see this grill here. So that's great because I managed to repurpose a lot of that from the drive. If anything, I wish I had more of it now. I was going to cover all of it with it, but actually it works out really well. So I've done it at the back here, and I've done it all the way around the outside, just in case, because if there's anything going to need maintenance, it's going to be around the outside for the planters, or it's going to be here. But the main area is going to be at the back here. So there's no bees in here at the moment. This is an empty one, just to sort of give the idea. I've got the option of 6 beehives. I don't plan on having 6. However, I would say, just on a side note, if you do plan on having bees, I'd always recommend 2. Reason for that is, as long as they look the same, you're probably okay. If one looks different to the other, you've probably got a problem. So it's always worth having 2 beehives. Right, so we've got the grill here at the back. Now I'm going to seed this with meadow flowers. And what's quite good at the front there isn't any grill, so if you walk on it, well, especially with the rain we've had, it'll be muddy. But that means that area is just going to be untouched, so there won't be any foot traffic there, so it doesn't need to be protected, and hopefully we'll get a really nice meadow. But I'm going to grow shorter ones. Reason being for that is because this will be the flight path, so they'll come up. I don't want to obstruct here, and it will be a steady incline to go out. So I'll take you around the outside. So along here, the digger hasn't been here yet, which is unfortunate. I don't know if it can fit. I'm going to have to speak to my friend about it. But this is all hardcore, so if I want to do gardening here, I have to garden with an SDS drill, which isn't great, but we're getting there. Now, I'm going to do an edge along there, and I want a nice fat edge, and I'm probably going to do sleepers. Long term, I'm still not that keen on a gravel drive, but for now, we've got it, it's fine. Unless I win the lottery, then we'll see. Anyway, so it comes to here, the plastic trays, so sometimes let fate decide. So the plastic trays come to here, and they go there. So I'm going to make that all a planter. I'm going to do sleepers here. Now, this bit here is going to be a drive. Without going into too much, that's another time, but I don't know what to do at the moment with it. I want a drive for turning around just to make it easier, but I don't know whether to put weed suppressant down again and put these on top, whether to just lay them on the soil and just let stuff grow, because the car will keep it down, and actually maybe it'll be quite good. Anyway, so I've done these, we've got this netting, and it's fine enough that the air will flow through it. It doesn't block all the sun, because I don't want to block the sun or shade that area, because I want the plants to grow. But when the bees come to it, they'll see it and they'll go up and over it. I've already started planting some plants. So we've got a paradise flower, I think it's called. This here is a plum tree. And what I'm going to do with that, so I'm going to let it grow to this tall, and then I'm going to spread it out across the side. So espalier style. I like, for fruit trees, I think espalier style is such a good way of doing it. It just makes it really easy to manage, see. It really does a good job. I've also got here clematis here, clematis there. So I've planted up. So the idea is this is all going to get covered. These wires, this will all work as a trellis. This will all get covered, and in, let's say, I don't know, 3 years, hopefully, fingers crossed, I can take this green netting down, and we'll have a natural green wall which will encourage the bees out and over. It's perfect height. If you're too tall, it's not going to work, but for me, it's just about right where the bees should go over my head. If you're a tall person, well, I'm sorry. There's only so much I can do. It's not really in line, this. It's kind of like quite at an angle. If you look at the top, here, I'll show you at the top. So if you look along here, it's not a perfect straight line. It's just because of how I made it. I should have used a plumb line, so I should have used a piece of string and done it that way. But there are no straight lines in nature, and actually, you know, I think it's quite nice. It's a nice curve to it. I think it's just worked out, meant to be that way. So yeah, we're going to do a nice flower bed here. And what will be good about this is, because I've got the net here, I'll be able to tend that. And even though without this net, I'll just have bees flying in my face, which I don't want. But as it is, I'll be able to tend that. This will just be a really nice flower bed all around it. So we're going to make this a really beautiful area. And eventually you won't even be able to see that. So yes, it's coming on very well. So some of the sleepers I bought. I already want more, I think. It's one of those ones where it's like a product where, you know, it's a good product. And as soon as I got it, I've already used the other bits. I'm going to want more. Because what I'm going to do, it's just perfect for doing a barrier. So I'm going to run them along here. And then along the back. And it will just make it so this flower bed's zoned. So if I do park a car here, this will give a really nice clear definition for the flower bed, and it looks really smart. And it's oak, which I was advised. The good thing about oak sleepers is they naturally just last longer because it's a hardwood. You can get tannalized ones and stuff like that, but for the extra cost, I'm saying as though it's my idea. I've spoke to my friend Doug about this. it seems like it's the way to go, and it looks really smart, and you can tell when you're cutting it, it's just a very nice product to work with straight away. I wouldn't bother for anything like with a frame for that. I don't think it's worth it for that. But if it's got to go in the ground and it needs to be strong and last, I think it's perfect. So I'm going to edge it all with these sleepers, so I'm going to need more. But, you know, it's not a project I'm planning to walk away from anytime soon. I'm going to be here for years, so I want to get it done right. I hope you're enjoying the project too. If you can like, comment, subscribe, that'd be great. Thanks very much.